Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the chaos around you? Discover ancient Buddhist secrets to lasting calm and inner peace, regardless of your surroundings. In this video, you'll unlock practical techniques to quiet your mind, reduce stress, and experience tranquility. Starting right now, exactly where you are. True calmness and peace do not come from external circumstances, but from within. The mind, often restless and reactive, is conditioned by habitual patterns of thought that create unnecessary suffering. Recognizing this is the first step toward cultivating an unshakable tranquility. Most people believe that peace is found in controlling external situations, yet the teachings of Buddhism reveal that real peace is an internal state, independent of outside influences. Thoughts and emotions arise like waves in the ocean. They come and go, sometimes gentle, sometimes turbulent, but they are not the ocean itself. The mind, like the ocean, is vast and boundless. When we mistake passing thoughts and emotions for our true self, we suffer. By observing thoughts without attachment, we begin to see their transient nature. They lose their power over us, and we remain undisturbed, like the deep waters beneath the waves, calm and steady. Reacting impulsively to every thought strengthens the illusion that we are our thoughts. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises not from thoughts themselves, but from our identification with them. When anger arises, instead of saying, "I am angry," one can recognize there is anger present. This shift creates space, allowing for awareness rather than blind reaction. The moment we become aware of a thought as separate from ourselves, we reclaim our inner peace. Slowing down bodily movements naturally slows down the mind. The body and mind are deeply connected. Restless actions feed restless thinking. By practicing slow, mindful movements, walking, writing, even eating, we cultivate awareness. This simple shift brings an immediate sense of calm. When the body is hurried, the mind is scattered. When the body is still, the mind has the opportunity to settle. The breath is a powerful anchor to the present moment. Observing the in-breath and out-breath draws attention away from chaotic thoughts and into the body. This practice, known as anapanasati, or mindfulness of breathing, is one of the Buddha's most fundamental teachings. Each breath is an opportunity to return to the present, to let go of distractions, and to reside in stillness. Thoughts may continue to arise, but returning to the breath prevents them from dominating our awareness. Non-reactivity is essential for maintaining inner peace. When external events trigger emotional responses, pausing before reacting disrupts the automatic cycle of suffering. If someone speaks harshly, instead of immediately responding, one can take a single deep breath. This pause weakens the habitual impulse to react and creates a moment of clarity. Over time, this practice builds resilience, allowing one to remain peaceful, even in challenging situations. The mind is like a clear pond. When stirred, it becomes muddy and clarity is lost. However, if left undisturbed, the sediment settles, revealing the clear water beneath. Similarly, when we stop constantly reacting to thoughts and emotions, the mind becomes naturally clear. Clarity is not something we create, it is our natural state, obscured only by mental agitation. Acceptance is a crucial aspect of peace. Resisting reality creates tension and suffering. When we accept things as they are, without attachment or aversion, we free ourselves from unnecessary struggle. This does not mean passivity, but rather a deep understanding that reality unfolds according to its nature, not our desires. Fighting against what is only deepens suffering, whereas acceptance brings freedom. Mindfulness in daily activities strengthens inner peace. Washing dishes, drinking tea, or walking can all be transformed into meditation. Bringing full attention to each action removes distractions and anchors the mind in the present. The present moment is always peaceful. It is only our wandering thoughts that create turmoil. Training the mind to stay present, even in small tasks, develops a deep sense of calm. Letting go is another fundamental practice. The more tightly we cling to things, possessions, identities, opinions, the more we suffer. Nothing is permanent. Recognizing impermanence allows us to appreciate life without grasping. Like holding water in the palm, the tighter we squeeze, the more it slips away. True peace comes from holding things lightly, appreciating them without attachment. Observing thoughts without judgment prevents them from controlling us. Imagine standing by a river, watching leaves float by. Some are bright, some are dark, but none need to be held on to. Our thoughts are the same. When we simply observe them rather than engaging with them, they pass on their own. Clinging to thoughts prolongs suffering. Letting them go restores peace. Emotional states are impermanent. Happiness, sadness, frustration all arise and fade. When we realize emotions are not fixed aspects of our identity, we stop taking them so seriously. Just as the sky is not altered by passing clouds, our true nature remains unchanged by fleeting emotions. This realization brings profound stability. Reducing external noise helps quiet the mind. The modern world is filled with distractions, notifications, news, endless entertainment. Constant stimulation keeps the mind agitated. Creating intentional silence, turning off unnecessary noise, spending time in nature, meditating, gives the mind space to breathe. In silence, peace naturally emerges. Compassion softens the mind and prevents reactivity. When we cultivate compassion for ourselves and others, we let go of resentment and anger. Seeing others as fellow beings who also experience suffering dissolves barriers and reduces conflict. Anger and hatred poison the mind. Compassion purifies it. Wishing others well, even silently, transforms our inner landscape. Gratitude shifts the focus from what is lacking to what is present. The mind often seeks what it does not have, creating dissatisfaction. By consciously appreciating what is already here, breath, health, nature, small joys, the mind settles into contentment. Contentment is the foundation of peace. Simplicity reduces mental clutter. The more possessions, commitments, and distractions we accumulate, the more restless the mind becomes. Simplifying life, physically, mentally, and emotionally, creates space for peace. Detaching from unnecessary desires and obligations allows for greater clarity and ease. The ego thrives on conflict and resistance. When we take things personally, we invite suffering. Recognizing that not everything requires a reaction liberates us. People's words and actions are reflections of their own inner state, not necessarily truths about us. Letting go of the need to defend the ego eliminates much unnecessary suffering. Slowing down thoughts through reflection deepens wisdom. Rushing to conclusions and judgments feeds restlessness. Taking time to contemplate before responding cultivates patience. Patience is a form of strength, allowing us to remain calm even when circumstances are difficult. Impulsiveness fuels suffering. Patience dissolves it. Seeing through illusions reduces suffering. Much of what disturbs us is based on false perceptions, expectations, assumptions, misunderstandings. Examining beliefs critically and questioning assumptions helps us avoid unnecessary distress. When we see things as they are rather than how we wish them to be, we find peace. Recognizing the interconnectedness of all things dissolves the illusion of separateness. When we see ourselves as part of a greater whole, rather than isolated individuals, we develop a sense of harmony. A tree does not struggle against the wind. It bends and sways, adapting naturally. Aligning with life rather than resisting it brings ease. Practicing gratitude before sleep calms the mind. Instead of replaying worries, recalling 3 things to be grateful for shifts mental energy. This habit rewires the brain toward contentment, making peaceful rest more natural. A mind filled with gratitude has little room for stress. Observing nature teaches peace. The stillness of a tree, the flow of a river, the openness of the sky, these reflect the qualities we seek to cultivate. Nature does not resist itself, it simply exists. Aligning with nature's rhythms harmonizes the mind. Resisting change is a major cause of suffering. Everything changes: relationships, circumstances, emotions. The more we try to hold things still, the more pain we create. Accepting change as natural allows us to move through life with grace rather than resistance. Awareness of death clarifies priorities. Understanding that time is limited makes small irritations seem insignificant. It reminds us to focus on what truly matters: kindness, presence, love. The fleeting nature of life encourages appreciation rather than attachment. Every moment is an opportunity to choose peace. Instead of feeding agitation, we can choose stillness. Instead of reacting in anger, we can choose patience. Instead of grasping, we can let go. The mind, when trained, naturally moves toward calmness. Silence is a teacher. In stillness, insights arise. Removing distractions and simply sitting with the present moment reveals truths that cannot be found in noise. The answers we seek often emerge when we stop seeking and simply listen. The path to peace is not in controlling the world, but in mastering the mind. The conditions of life will always change, but the ability to remain undisturbed is within reach. Cultivating this state requires practice, but the rewards are infinite.